All right, y'all. Hey, everybody. Tis I, Hope Jizzle. And I know that you can hear me, but not see me just yet. So let me introduce myself. I don't know what I did on Instagram. So I may not even be live over there, to be perfectly honest with y'all. And at this point, it's a little bit too late for me to fix it. So I guess it's just gonna give the YouTube and the TikTok fam because Instagram just decided to forsake me. So if I am live over there, great. If I'm not, too bad, so sad because I'm not ending the live just to put y'all back in it. So if you're on TikTok and you got a friend that loves Hope Giselle, let them know I'm over here because yeah. So I wanted to do a get ready with me today to just discuss pride and a couple of like things. And I wanted to start off with a constant theme that I've been seeing around Pride Month, specifically with different entertainers and things. And since I don't think YouTube, I mean, I don't think that what's the name is up. So I'm going to close that screen and make my screen for TikTok a little bit bigger. Um, Essentially, you all, I wanted to come and kind of just do my normal get ready with me. This is my Olay serum while talking a little bit through what's going on with Pride and a theme that I've been seeing amongst all of my friends, whether they be influencers or just people in community who are typically booked for Pride. Now, unlike last year, I will say there's a bunch of people, I don't see a lot of people excuse me, saying that they can't find work or saying that like the bookings are not coming through or that things are not, doing what they're supposed to be doing as it pertains to this pride, which I kind of find a little bit interesting because I just feel like maybe last year there was a huge push for stuff like that because most people were like afraid of Trump and it was like the first couple of months and all of those things. And so maybe we were all jumping out of the window like far too prematurely on that particular situation. But this year, I'm excited to say that like a good majority of the people that I follow, the people that I fuck with, and the people that I know and love that are always booked or that deserve to be booked or whatever are getting booked for the most part. But here's the other dilemma that we're facing now at this particular juncture. And it's the fact that, yes, the girls are getting booked, but the girls are getting, and by the girls, I mean it's gender neutral for this particular one. By the girls, I do mean that a lot of these people who, deserve to be in these spaces are getting under underpaid to say the least. And a lot of people are accepting those payments because they're in positions where they have no choice. It's kind of like I either make the money or I don't make the money. I either am going to get the booking or I'm not going to get the booking. And a lot of people are running against the time clock of trying to decide whether or not they want to lean in on what they know they're worth versus whether or not they want to just like accept what they're being given because bitches need a coin. And I'm finding that a lot of people are accepting the very ridiculously low balls, you know what I'm saying? Because they are struggling. Like queer people, especially in the space, are struggling. Like if you're not one of those top tier, white adjacent or white creators at this particular point, a lot of us do not have the space to typically negotiate our prices and or we don't have the space to turn around and be like, oh, I'm not going to do this because if you don't do it, then guess what? Light bill ain't getting paid this month. Phone bill ain't getting paid this month. A bill of some sort is just not getting paid this month. And I find that to be sad, mostly because a lot of these creators that are being lowballed are the creators that are doing the most work, are the creators that are the most visible, are the creators that the people connect with the most. But because they are not the people that Hollywood has deemed as like the chosen few of the LGBTQ, the folks are like, oh yeah, come out, but they're not willing to pay you what you're worth for coming out. And this has been a pattern, I think, for quite some time, but this year in particular, it feels like it's a pattern that's been growing and it's quite egregious. And so I wanted to just give y'all a story about something that happened to me recently. And I am going to name names because if you know me, that's what I do because I want you to get better. And you don't get better if I allow you to go under the radar or if you don't feel hit. And some people are just like, oh, but Hope, those are the reasons why you don't get, invited back or whatever. And I would beg to differ. I think that there are some opportunities that, sure, there might be some opportunities that I've missed because behind closed doors, people are like, well, if we are not going to do, this and that for Hope, like she's likely going to talk shit about us. And to be very clear, I am. But I like the fact that people don't bother me with those opportunities because they know that they're not going to treat me right. And if you don't treat me right, then yes, I am going to talk shit about you. And if you don't treat me right, then yes, I'm going to tell everybody that you didn't treat me right. And you know why? Because I don't want you to be able to be out here touting as somebody who is treating the community right. And they're out here believing that because Hope Giselle took the pickle juice that you offered me 3 years ago, that this is going to be a great experience for them when I know different. And so, yes, if I come into a space and I'm not treated right, I'm going to let the people know and community know. If I come into a space and I feel like you're lowballing me, yes, I'm going to let the people in community know. I'm never going to accept something that I don't think suits me. And I'm never going to just be that thirsty to be able to say that I'm on somebody's flyer to just accept bullshit that does not actually like work for me as it pertains to what I know I should be worth, especially considering that I've been told on multiple occasions that I am way cheaper than most people expect me to be. And so this idea that if I am way cheaper than most people expect me to be, and some of y'all come up to me and have the nerve to offer me some of the numbers like what I'm about to tell y'all I was just offered by LA Pride, y'all would gag, right? Because how dare you? So LA Pride, and I want to be clear, it might be LA Black Pride, but I'm not sure. But it was one of the LA Prides. Maybe I can go into my email really quickly and just let y'all know which one, because I don't want to get them confused. But LA Pride reached out to me in some way, shape, or form to host an event. And this event was going to be dealing with Trina and Akasha Bentley. And there was going to be like this, this big to do. And they wanted me to come to the club basically during, here it is, LA hosting. And so Jason Isaacs hit me up and said, hi, Hope. I hope all is well. I'm the founder of Posh Party. There we go. We do LGBTQ events globally, and I'm writing to find out what your hosting rate is for events/parties. Please let me know. We are interested in booking you for our LA Pride event on 6/13. Okay. Now, my assistant got back and said, thank you so much. This is what Hope's rate, kind of sort of starts at, blah, 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 blah. And you'll need a 50% deposit. Erica sent that message on 4/20. On 4/27, she followed back up. And then, they came back on 4/27 and said, hey, the budget is way too high for us. Once we lock in sponsors or whatever, we'll be able to circle back. Now, the thing that I know about Posh is that if you've ever seen even the advertisement for Posh parties, those parties are luxe. There was a whole thing on Gay Magazine about how, they did like an interview series with people to see if people were okay with the prices that they were paying for Posh parties, right? And so this is just one because this isn't even the thing I was talking about. This is just another another moment where I was like, oh, okay, heard, right? But there's another event that I was invited to host or to do like a little 1-2 for LA Pride. And if you're going to the event or if the event has passed and you've been to the event, then you know what I'm talking about, because this was an event where Trina and Akasha Bentley are supposed to be there. And they essentially wanted me to come and do a walkthrough. Now, if you know anything about me and my brand, I am an activist, I am an advocate, I am a cultural commentator. I'm not really the party girl, I'm not really the party host. It's a difference if you're talking about hosting like a pride event in and of itself, and like I'm there to get the people galvanized around the things that are going on in community. It's a difference if you are talking about like everyday people, or like, you know, an eclectic set where the eclectic Negroes and queers are gonna, you know, get together and have a good old grand old time. But they were talking about me going to an event that I likely would not go to on any other given day of the week. And they wanted me to come and be in this space with the promise of being able to see Trina and Akasha Bentley for the woesome price of $500. Now, I know some of y'all are gonna be like, oh, hope it was $500 for you to sit there. Yes, but it was $500 for me to sit there, and the shoes that I would have worn to the event would have been more than $500, right? The shoes that I'm gonna wear to your event cost more than what you're gonna pay me to be in the event. On top of that, again, I am not an influencer that hosts parties, or, you know, that turns up and does all the things. When I go out and when y'all do see like the moments of me having my fun with my friends, that's the shit that I like to do because that's the shit that I like to do. That's not my job. That's not the type of influencer that I am trying to promote or purport myself to be. That's not the type of content creator that I'm trying to promote or purport myself to be. And so the idea that you're going to invite me to a party and you want me to do, you know, a walkthrough or whatever the case may be. And that's never just what they want you to do. When you get there, they want you to get on the mic. You got to take pictures with people. You got to be aggravated with folks coming up into your face and neglecting your personal space and all of these different things. Like, there's so much other stuff that you have to deal with, even when you are supposedly just doing a quote unquote walkthrough. And so it's not just, oh, Hope is going to come and she's just going to sit here in the corner, because I could come and I could do this event for $500, but I'm going to come and do this event for $500 and I'll be in there for 10 minutes and then I'm going to bounce because this isn't my scene. And my thing is, if I were to do that, y'all would be making a video about my negative attitude, or y'all would be making a video about how I didn't fulfill my agreement. But also, I think that it's important during Pride that a lot of you promoters look up the people that you're actually trying to invite and figure out what their strong suit is. Because I think a large part of the reason why they offer me $500 is because they know what I do, and they knew that this wasn't one of those things that I do, and they thought that offering me $500 as a consolation prize was going to be okay, and it wasn't. In fact, it was an insult. Because at the end of the day, what I also believe is that a lot of these offers started to come in or started to pour in after I posted that picture with myself, Laverne Cox, and T.S. Madison. And so my assumption, not that I know, but my assumption is that somebody over there at the team of LA Pride, or whoever was trying to book me for this particular thing, was like, oh, Hope has proximity to these women, and so we want to get her in the space, but we're not going to pay her the way that we would pay these women. Because to be clear, if T.S. Madison was getting that email, it don't matter if she was coming to enjoy herself and just sit in the section, y'all wouldn't dare tell T.S. Madison all y'all had for her was $500. And you're not going to convince me anything different. The people over at Posh, I'm not counting the pockets or doing the budget on y'all stuff. But again, I've seen Posh advertisement. I've seen where Posh throws parties. I've seen how Posh parties work. And to be very clear, my fee is not high, right? Like, my fee is just not crazy high like that. And for what y'all charge people to get into those parties, for how many people be at those parties, for the amount of people, you know, that y'all have already scheduled to go to other parties, I just feel like if you want people there, you find the money to make sure that people are there. I think that a lot of people are hoping that you still don't know your worth yet, and they want to be able to nickel and dime you, and they want to be able to get you for the cheapest amount possible, while being able to pay somebody else that's going to be on the same lineup as you, that does less for community than you, $100,000 million to come and just be themselves, right? And those are the things that, like, really work me, because I found that a lot of people like to play with me like that, because a lot of my work is community focused. A lot of my work is community based. People want to play with me and make it seem like, oh, we can just give Hope $500. We can offer Hope, you know, $200, and that's going to be okay. As a person who has worked with all types of Fortune 500 companies and gets paid thousands of dollars for the stuff that I actually do for my job, I'm not gonna come in and go to a party doing Pride and get paid less for something that I don't enjoy doing than I get paid for the stuff that I actually do enjoy doing that requires more labor of me. And I just think that this Pride Month, what a lot of you all need to understand and what a lot of you promoters need to start getting with is that if you cannot afford a person's gifts, then don't even send them the email requesting their services. If you cannot afford a person's gift, then don't send them the email requesting their services, because that to me is trifling. Like, a lot of you all expect people to show up and do all of these things that y'all see us do on social media that takes all of this real estate in our mind. That, you know, like, a lot of this stuff is traumatizing sometimes, depending on what your subject matter is. A lot of this stuff is stuff that you have to talk about day in and day out, because that's the way that the algorithm works. A lot of people are literally doing this as their full-time job. They don't have anything else going on outside of this, and y'all are trying to capitalize off of the fact that y'all know that some of these people, while they might have a lot of followers, they don't have a lot of bookings, they don't have a lot of things. I'm in a position where I'm fortunate enough that I can turn down, you know, a gig or whatever the case may be, and it not bother me as far as my financials are concerned. But I think that it's beyond financials for me, and is a little bit less about the financial for me than it is about the fact that I just think that it's purely and utterly disrespectful to offer somebody $500 or claim that you can't afford people's fees, and then people look at the grandiose nature of your events, or people look at the other people that you have on staff and they see, no, bitch, you had way more than $500 to offer. You just thought that it was okay to offer me $500, and that is the insult. Because for you to think about inviting me, you had to see the value and the worth in my presence being in that space. So being able to come back and read me and say, well, girl, you ain't nobody, you think you all this and that, but I didn't reach out to y'all to come to your party, you reached out to me. So even in, you know, in the event that somebody from any of these organizations sees this video and they try to read and say, oh, well, Hope, you're not X, Y, and Z, and you don't blah, 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 just remember, I didn't reach out to you and say, hey, can I come to your party? Hey, can I be on this booking? You reached out to me and said, hey, can you come here and do the X, Y, and Z? Which means that you saw the value in me. You just didn't see the worth in me and being able to pay me what the fuck I think my time is worth. And for context, because I know that a lot of people, and I like to make sure that everybody kind of sort of knows all of the details. For context, I live in California, but I don't live in LA. I live about an hour outside of LA, which means I would have to drive my car with $6 of gas, right? $6 a gallon for gas right now. In LA, I would have to drive my car an hour down to a party that I would not go to on a regular basis, to be around a crowd of people that I likely would not be around on a regular basis, to be at a event space where I'm going to be sitting in a section likely by myself, because I'm not going to bring, my husband is not here. I don't have 1,001 friends that are into that space, so my friends are not going to want to come. I don't want to be there all night long, so I really don't want to invite somebody to some shit I'm probably going to be sitting at for for 5 or 10 minutes. And on top of that, I don't want to waste you all's time and or waste you all's resources, because that $500 might not be anything to me, but there's a micro influencer, there's a person out there who, you know, would absolutely love that $500 as a consolation prize for whatever it is that y'all are offering. But I think that when you come to people who are in community, who are doing the type of work and who have the type of influence and the type of name and accolades that I have, $500 is indeed an insult. I don't care if you don't expect me to do nothing, or if you think that this is like, oh, it's an easy, you know, ask, like she's getting $500 to sit here. At the end of the day, I'm getting $500 to sit somewhere where I would not be regularly, especially during Pride. I avoid Pride events most of the time because they're either too white or they're too ghetto. One way or the other, I just don't really and typically enjoy a lot of events that are based around Pride. Also, because they're not based with the community in mind. Everyday people is more inclusive than a lot of Pride events. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these traveling 1-bedroom parties and things like that, those parties are a lot more inclusive than a lot of Pride events. And that's no tea, no shade, but that's just my experience as a Black trans woman navigating Pride over the last, I want to say maybe like 7 or 8 years. I haven't really been able to go to a Pride and enjoy it, my first Pride in DC, when I moved to DC, I went to one of the events. I walked into the room and the room was filled with nothing but Black gay men. And when I walked into the room, it was clear that they wanted me to get the fuck out. And it wasn't personal. I don't think that it was because I was Hope Giselle. I don't think that it was because of anything like that. It was because that was not a welcoming space. And even though the flyer purported it to be an inclusive space, it just wasn't. And so that's one of the things that I wanted to discuss around Pride, is that if y'all are going to be booking the people, if y'all are going to be booking the guys and the dolls and the kids, pay the guys and the dolls and the kids, which y'all pay these celebrities and these people to come out. And it's not to say that I expect to get the same amount of money as Trina for sitting in the audience and just being there and being cute, but it is to say that at the very least, if you're not coming at somebody with 4 digits, don't bother somebody who you know does not typically do this. Because it would have been a difference if I was up the street from the venue. It would have been a difference if I had a prior relationship with LA Pride, or the people that offered me this stuff from Posh. Like, if we were cool like that and you were just like, hey, like, Hope, here's our budget. You know, we can't do that, but here's our budget. Because I also feel like if a person reaches out to you and they say, hey, we have this event, what's your rate? You give them your rate. If they really want you there, they'll say, we can't meet that, but here's what we can do. Is there a space that we could work this out? People who really want to work with you, they figure out ways to work with you. And the reason I know this is because I have plenty of people who want to work with me that are not a part of the queer community, that have nothing to do with Pride. And when they really want you in their space, they find that money. I don't know how they find that money. I don't know where they find that money from. But when people really value who you are, they value your work, and they truly mean what they say in that first initial email, because a lot of y'all send them emails like, oh my God, we just love everything that you do, and we just love who you are, and it just would mean so much to us to have, and you're so impactful. That doesn't translate after I give you a fee or a rate that you don't think that I deserve. And that's how I know that a lot of y'all are bullshit, right? And I want to just say to all of my folks that are influencers, or all of my folks that are creators during this Pride season, and y'all are, you know, also facing some of these things, please know that some of us macro influencers, or as macro creators, or advocates and people in community, we're not getting, you know, not all of us, right? All of us are not getting these crazy deals and this crazy money, and we have to advocate for ourselves. And this was the thing that when I first started in this industry, I had a big issue advocating for myself and saying that I wasn't going to take chunk change, and saying that I wasn't going to do X, Y, and Z. And a lot of it was my imposter syndrome, because I felt like, oh, well, I don't have the numbers that this person has, or I don't track the certain type of thing that this person does. But at the end of the day, my accolades also speak for themselves. And I'm not the same type of creator as that person in their world or in the grand scheme of things, but I am still a huge creator in the space that I occupy, and I deserve to be paid for that space. I deserve to be paid for my accolades. The same way that people base things off of Grammys and awards and all of those things, I have enough awards and Grammy-esque style things in my own field that $500 is crazy, right? And coming to me and not having a significant budget to book me for a Pride event during Pride as a Black company that supports Pride and things like that is crazy. And I hate the fact that some of you all believe that the party is going to be a part of the payment. I could care less about going to your party. Most of the time, I am at home watching anime on my couch, drinking kombucha, or, you know, some sort of water drink that ain't really water, because I hate drinking water straight up and by itself. So the idea that some of y'all think that it's going to behoove me to have to spend money because I'm not going to show up. I don't show up anywhere like of importance, at least, you know, not dressed and not looking my best. So I got to spend money to buy an outfit to come to this party that I would not go to on a regular basis, that I, you know, like to do again. Like, it is not like, I think that a lot of y'all have creators fucked up because y'all just assume that it is a privilege for us to go and to be in this space and to enjoy this party, as if the party is going to help me pay my bills. Okay, I had a great time. I danced around with a bunch of people that were half naked and half dressed, and I spent money on shoes, and I spent money on the outfit, and I made sure my hair and my makeup and stuff was done. And the fee that y'all gave me only covered half of what I wore, let alone any of the things that I'm trying to cover with the money that I'm bringing into my household. And I just feel like it sucks even more when it comes from people who are part of the LGBT community, and when it comes from people who are Black within the LGBT community, because I just feel like we know. Every single Pride month, we talk to these, or we talk, we talk at, and we talk about these white corporations that come and they want to benefit from, Black labor. They want to benefit from all of these Black influencers and creators and things of that nature. But then y'all turn around and y'all try to jip us the same way that they try to jip us. Y'all turn around and the same, things that Microsoft or Target or whomever was offering, y'all offer a little bit less than that. And then y'all will turn around and say, yeah, but it's for the community. So da 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 da. Like, y'all would literally try to guilt trip people into doing something. I at least appreciate the approach of big corporate, because big corporate is going to tell you, hey, boo, hey, we know that we just need somebody of your caliber to come and do this thing. This is all we're willing to give. This is all we're prepared to give. This is all we want to give. They don't gaslight you into believing that you're some amazing, trailblazing person that they couldn't do this event without, unless they genuinely feel that way. And if they don't genuinely feel that way, 9 times out of 10, at least in my experience with major brands, is that they'll tell you, like, hey, what we're trying to do is fill this quota. We want to know if you have the time and space available to be able to come and do X, Y, and Z for us. Here's the rate. If that doesn't work for you, do you have somebody else that you think would work instead of you? Right. And most of the time I respect that, because I know that this is not some bullshit ass, pseudo fake relationship that a brand is trying to build with me on the strength of, oh, Hope, you're just so amazing. You're so dope. I know that somehow I landed on somebody's desk because maybe somebody in the ERG follows me. And now I'm being given an opportunity to either come and create this thing for this one moment. And maybe I'm going to use this as an opportunity to sell myself and let them know that they should bring me back more often. Or I'm going to come in and I'm going to say, well, you know what? That doesn't really align with me and my brand. And I'm going to move on. And I am going to give them a recommendation for somebody else who might be smaller, as far as their journey is concerned, and they might need a little bit more of that space to grow. That's just not me. So when we are talking about Pride, I think that as y'all are continuing to book people through the end of the month for parties, for speaking engagements, for whatever y'all are booking people for, I need y'all to also take into account who you're talking to, what you're inviting them to, what their accomplishments are, regardless of what social media looks like. Because you're looking at things based off of social media, and that person is looking at things based off of what they've done as far as the community that you're inviting them to come and celebrate with is concerned. And so regardless of whether or not this person has 2 million followers, there's still a person that has trained some of the best and brightest minds in our time. Regardless of whether or not this person clocks 10,000 views on every video that they make, they've still been able to train people over at Johnson & Johnson. They've still been one of the top scientists in their fields who just happens to make dope ass content. And so I think that y'all need to understand that as we move forward and as we continue to do this, over the course of, a couple of years, as we continue to do Pride ain't going nowhere, right? As we continue to do Pride, y'all have to really be more strategic in who you reach out to, why you're reaching out to them, and what your budgets are. You cannot come to people who have accolades, especially like the ones that I have, and be thinking that you're finna nickel and dime us with $5. That's just not how this works. Especially when I know that y'all are out here paying girls who are literally just entertainers. Y'all are out here paying these girls during Pride Month $20 and $40 and $60 and $80,000 to come and just be in the space, or be on the flyer, or hop on the microphone for a couple of minutes a piece during the set. But then you bring actual activists and you think that giving us a bottle and a section and $500 is gonna be enough. That is ass backwards during Pride Month. During Pride Month, y'all should be bending over backwards to make sure that the people who oftentimes don't get those type of checks get those type of checks, because Pride is a riot, not a party. And y'all don't understand that. And I think that that's the reason why so many people are moving away and divesting from, and not even showing up to a lot of Pride events, because they're not seeing the people that are doing the work. They're seeing a bunch of people that they might like. They like their work. They enjoy what they have going on. But these people don't see the folks that they actually are following, that are giving them all of the ones and twos. I would love to see Here's Why Kevin get booked for, a panel during Pride Month to discuss all of his investigative journalism down there at Delaney. I would love to see, people like that getting what they need. I would love to see, Kenneth, who, be out here making all of the funny videos and talking about Kamala and all of that stuff. I would love to see Kenny get booked for something that isn't based on politics and the political sphere. I know that y'all are probably going to sit back and say, like, well, hope those people don't drive numbers and those people don't bring people to the yard. But you know what? Y'all have never tried. Y'all assume that because that person is a political commentator who is gay, that he's not going to bring people out. But people follow those folks. People are getting their information for those folks. A lot of people go to Here's Why Kevin now for the news exclusively before they're willing to listen to like a CNN clip, or before they're willing to listen to like a Hollywood Reporter clip. And I think that those people are just as valuable as any person that's on the internet twerking, or any person that's on the internet just kind of like going back and forth with people and getting invited to the party because y'all are so enamored with the idea of mess and stress and drama being brought to the space that y'all are okay with the possibility of paying these people all of these thousands of dollars to come and sit in the space, and they've added nothing to the community outside of the fact that they might be queer or a fake queer ally. Because that's the other thing that I want to talk about as it pertains to Pride, is that y'all will present so many of these fake queer allies, with space at our events, but y'all will still turn around and not book queer artists. Now, this is an older argument. And so what I am going to say is that this year, I am going to retract that statement. I usually am able to stand on that 110%. I'm able to like that's my go-to, because people don't do that. But what I can say, y'all, is that this year, I don't know if, somebody grandma got up in her prayer closet and just was whacking y'all in the head backwards and forwards. But I have seen so many queer artists, right? I have seen so many queer artists on these flyers. Baby, I have seen so many dope queer artists headlining prides and things of that nature, and making shit shake. And I really do appreciate that. The couple of people that I have seen that were not queer artists, I'm giving it the side eye still, but I also understand that sometimes when you are in a smaller city, you do have to kind of bring out the big guns and make people want to come out. But like I said, I'm not going to I'm not going to hang my hat on that this particular year, because this year I'm going to say the promoters, y'all might not be paying everybody well, but what I will say is that y'all did manage to listen to us, and y'all are starting to get people that are us, that are from our community, on those stages and booked, at these Pride events. And I don't know about the rest of the delegation, but I know that I'm really, really excited about that, and I'm really happy about that. And I will gladly say that I'm proud that y'all are starting to take notes, and y'all are doing so in a way that lets me know, or makes me feel like at the very least y'all do care about how community feels about some of these things. Because for a while, I didn't think y'all did. For a while, I felt like it was given, fuck y'all. This is our budget. We're going to do what we want to do with our budget. And if we want to hire Brandy, for the 15th year in a row, we going to do that, because in our eyes, she's, done the things. We're going to hire K. Michelle again. We're going to hire all of these other people. And this is not me saying that these are not LGBT allies or whatever the case may be. This is just me saying that at the end of the day, these are still people who are not queer. And we have our own artists that are actually queer, that are actually a part of this community, that live this life every day, that deserve to be seen and celebrated by their own community. And let me tell y'all something. This year, I do feel like y'all did that. I feel like I'm seeing so many flyers with Duran on it. And I absolutely love that. I'm seeing Him the Rapper pop out. I'm seeing Aniko pop out, and they're doing their thing out there in these streets. There's a couple of other like queer artists that I really mess with. The Third has been out in New York doing their thing. Miss Mojo has been booked for a couple of things. There are a lot of like queer artists who are like independent artists who have been out here collecting their bags. So I'm gonna give y'all big one this year on Pride, for making sure that queer artistry was actually centered and was actually headlining this Pride, because typically y'all be pissing us off, okay? Y'all be pissing us all the way the fuck off with some of these selections that y'all make. And so this year, I am proud to say I am proud of y'all, okay? I really am. I really am. Y'all did y'all big one this year on Pride. But not but and one of the other things that I wanted to like say as it pertains to Pride too is that I am in a space where Pride has become something that I'm less and less interested in being a part of, unless it's like the parts that are going to be like the educational parts. I'm not really interested in going to pride parties anymore. I used to want to be like an Atlanta Pride girly really bad, but it's just like the way that y'all fight so much, and the way that like y'all wait to see people, you know, and all, like, it's like I just feel like we too old to still be having the same rhetoric happen at Pride. And I used to want to be, you know, at some of the famous prides so bad, and now I'm just like, this shit is ridiculous. You go out there, you get all fresh, it's already hot for the most part when you go to any pride, no matter where you go to this pride, and now y'all want to fight. And then on top of that, y'all don't just want to fight, y'all want to fight in some of the most crazy ass ways. Y'all want to pepper spray each other and mace each other, and you know, like all of these different things. Like, y'all are just out here acting an ass, and all of us, you know, or at least a good majority of us, are grown ass people. These are not the kids that I'm seeing. These are no longer the 18, 19-year-olds. These are the people who used to be the 18, 19-year-olds when I was growing up. And now y'all are the 30 something, the almost 40 somethings still out here scrapping every year come June through September. And it's like, y'all got to let that shit go. A lot of y'all have to really learn and understand and recognize that all of that fighting and stuff during Pride is not a badge of honor. You don't get no real cool points from that. And the only reason that people are telling you that they lived for it is because they weren't a part of it. But we have to do better, and we have to lead by examples for these babies, because that's what this Pride is really about. Pride started off as a protest and not a party. I'm going to always say that. But beyond that, what I need y'all to also understand is that these babies are watching. They're watching us navigate Pride. They're watching us navigate all of these queer spaces. They're watching how we talk to each other. They're watching how we interact with each other. They're seeing all of these things. And yes, I got my own beefs as well. I do. I'm not sitting up here saying that, oh, because I'm saying this, I'm a model citizen of the thing that I'm talking about. Usually people who are talking about the thing are the least, you know, qualified to talk about the thing from a place of experience, at least, because most of us are dealing with it in a very different way than we're asking you to navigate it. But it is to say that that's the reason why I keep a we statement and not a y'all statement, because we have to do better about the way that we're letting these kids see us navigate the world. And I think that Pride has also just become this royal rumble of sorts, where we are getting together online in the weeks before and sometimes in the months before and setting up our fighting bets. And now we looking at, you know, each other crazy in the club, just waiting on everything to pop off. And it can't just be that that's what Pride has become. Pride cannot have become the WWE for all of the queens and the gays and get to come together and, you know, just decide that it's gonna be fight night weekend. Like we're like, it really just, I feel like sometimes I am a little ashamed and a little bit like, to even claim it, because I just feel like a lot of y'all don't understand the amount of power that we have to show so much love and so much solidarity in those weekends. No matter what weekend your Pride falls on, we have so much room as Black folks, specifically within the Pride movement, to show so much more solidarity than we show to each other, to show so much more love and compassion than we show to each other, to party our asses off and make them people upset just because we out there having a good time. And most of the time, I think we can do that at the beginning, but there's always something, there's always some nigga, there's always some lady, there's always some bitch, there's always some other stud that's bigger, better than you. And not everybody got to get into a whole fight outside of the cascade because we don't know how to act around one another this one time a year that you fly into my city, or the one time a year that I fly into your city. We can't get it together. Pride is not going to last beyond the next 10 years if every single time we go to Pride, we're expecting fights. Because what I can say also about the world that we're living in, y'all, right now, is that these kids ain't up for it. These kids are not up for it. These kids, the way that they are showing up for one another, the way that they're protecting one another, the way that they're calling their parents in for one another, the way that they're calling us in for one another, these kids are not having it. And I really believe that, like, you think that some of the old heads have divested from Pride. You think that some of the old heads have divested from what's going on at the parks and at the parties and all of those things. And y'all are going to gag when these babies stop showing up. Y'all are going to gag the first time that y'all create these 100,000, 200,000, sometimes $500,000 and $600,000, $700,000 events, and nobody goes because the gays who used to go and used to get their life are too old, and these young kids don't want to go because they've already heard the reputation of some of these spaces. And I think that that's going to be the most hurtful thing to a lot of people who are navigating these spaces, but not listening to the people who are telling y'all that these things have to be rerouted. Yes, we can have fun during Pride. Yes, we should have fun during Pride. But we have to also get back to what Pride was about. We have to also get back to why Marsha and Sylvia and Stormy and so many people gathered outside of Stonewall all of those nights, all of those years ago. And it wasn't because they wanted to have a party. It wasn't because they wanted to fight with one another. It was because they wanted justice. It was because they wanted police reform. It was because they wanted the racism to stop. It was because they wanted all of these things that were coming up against all of us to stop. And y'all have missed the plot completely for the most part because we spend so much of our time talking about what parties we're going to go to, who we're going to fuck, and who we're going to fight. And I think that if it's one thing that we've got to be cognizant of is the way that we carry our traditions. The reason why these things are things that we look forward to or that we looked forward to as young queer kids is because we saw how these older people that we looked up to were having fun at these events. We weren't going to these events because we were sitting around talking to them about how the great fight of Edwards and Jackson happened on Piedmont Park over there in 2026. We went to them because we were like, oh, we saw that gay queer men were able to go and grill and have fun with their trans sisters. We saw that lesbian women also created a space for themselves where there was none because the gay boys were taking over all of the space. We saw where trans girls stormed through the park and created a space for the trans girls to come and vibe. And on top of that, it all became one big village. I don't understand why Pride isn't just like one big festival. I do understand, however, why Prides are not combined. So for all of the white people that are going to sit in here and be wondering why there is also a need to differentiate prides, it's because a lot of y'all are racist and don't want to admit it. And a lot of us don't have time to navigate being both queer while also navigating your pseudo racism that is masked in your queerness, because we will end up having to bop y'all in y'all mouth. And I feel like some of y'all are going to see this video and say like, oh, okay, well, like that's the fix. Like that's the unity. We all should come together. And I can say that my personal opinion is that while I do want Black prides to be a little bit less rowdy, I still don't fuck with white prides either, because y'all are not just rowdy. Y'all are very exclusionary to all people. At least Black prides give lesbian women and trans men and trans women spaces to be. When I look at white prides, it is nothing but white gay men and all of the facets that white gay men come in with a sprinkle of masculine lesbian, and that's it. Right. And I just feel like the fact that y'all lack so much inclusivity just amongst the representation of the community lets me know just how much of a pushback it's going to be for Black and brown people who actually want to have a Black and brown culture time to be able to go in there and enjoy ourselves. And rather than having to fight y'all on it, we would rather continue to be separate. And so I just want y'all in y'all own respective places to also work on some of the things that I'm talking about, because while it is not a single race issue, I don't think that we can have that conversation together, because then we start to get into a conversation about race rather than the conversation about the queer community being able to work on one, being able to work and move on one accord. And so a lot of people, you know, are going to feel like that's still divisive, but I think that ultimately that's the thing that's going to save us. Once we get ourselves together and we handle the way that our prides are being run, and we handle the way that people are being booked, and we handle the way that these parties versus the panels are happening, I think we'll be in a much better space. I think that DC handles Pride really well, especially DC Black Pride. DC Black Pride has a full day of events, a full day of movies, and all of those things that people also are encouraged to come to, because it's all in the same spot. I think that sometimes New York Pride can do it well, but they get so wrapped up in the parade that people don't show up to the other things. During COVID, it was so much easier to do because everybody was kind of like online, and the people that were outside, it was very few and far between, but it didn't make you feel like you really had to choose, because most people opted to just have like a little pride inside with their friends and their family groups. But now that we're back outside, we just have to do a better job. And I think that before we have a conversation about what integration looks like, white people should also navigate the fact that y'all have way more money for your prides than we ever do. And we see the same people keep getting booked every single year. I am so sick and tired of seeing Christina Aguilera as if white people don't also listen to the same music. Because when I go to these hip hop concerts, y'all are the people spending $4,000 and $5,000 to sit in the front row to watch Lil Wayne and Cardi B and Kendrick Lamar and all of those people. And so what I want to know is that why y'all can be in the front row at the concert, but then the only people that get booked for the prides are Christina Aguilera and Clay Aiken, right? Not saying that Clay Aiken is actually getting booked for prides, but y'all know what the fuck I mean. it's just one of those things where it's just like, I need y'all to really interrogate the stuff that y'all are doing wrong to one another, and the racism that happens that y'all are not acknowledging within your own community before y'all even sit down and have a conversation with Black people about how to navigate us working together to make Pride happen. So that's just kind of my 2 cents about, like, Pride programming as it pertains to working together to make sure that prides become a little bit more less violent on the side of Black folk. And then when I think, or when I'm talking about being able to come together and stop being segregated, I mean, for right now, I think that that's a conversation that I'm talking about, just making sure that all of the communities amongst Black people are also celebrating each other, which means that we need to have a space for lesbian women. We need to have a space for the effeminate gay men to feel seen and adored, and have a space where people who want to engage with those types of men can do so without feeling bad. Because that's another thing. I think that a large part of the reason why people don't really attend, most of the Pride parties, but they go to some of the afters or the things that, are happening on the outskirts, is because when you go to a lot of these parties, they're marketed for masculine gay men to meet other masculine gay men to meet other masculine gay men. They're not marketed as intersectional venues and identities. And to be very clear, I think that there should be spaces where masculine gay men go to grunt and pretend to be straight with one another. Feel free to do your thing. I'm going to advocate for that space. But I think that for just as many masculine affirming spaces that we should also have spaces where feminine people get an opportunity to go in and live their best femme blouse fantasy. And the men and or the women or the trans people that want to show love or give love to those feminine affirming men should be able to go and celebrate those men in that space. Just like I think that studs should be able to have a space that is geared toward, that is marketed toward, that is based on the way that thug women want to have their party done. And if you want to go in there and go and be a part of that space, you got to know that that's their space and you should respect it as such, right? But there shouldn't be all of this segregation for the sake that there is no space at all. And I think that that's a large part of the reason why there is separation on the other end of this argument, is because people don't feel seen. People don't feel like they're being heard. People don't feel like their events are being taken seriously because there are no events to begin with. And so as we continue to move through these conversations, y'all, we just got to be more mindful. We have to not placate the system that is telling us, or play into, the system that is telling us that some of us are better than the other ones, and we're going to focus on the people that the government, or we're going to focus on the people that the system is telling us is the least problematic, and leave the rest of them behind. Because ultimately, I feel like that's what happens when we're dealing with some of these Pride Month bookings, and when we're dealing with some of these Pride Month organizations, is that a lot of them end up really acquiescing to the will of some of these funders and investors. And a lot of these funders and investors have divested from trans people this year. And so while Pride has not been divested from completely, a lot of people have divested from the ability to want to buy into seeing trans people, want to buy into seeing trans people host, want to buy into seeing trans people even thrive at some of these events. And I think that y'all are going to have to also push back on that. If you're coordinating events and you got people that are telling you that they would rather not have a stud lesbian host that event, push back. If you're hosting an event and you have people that are telling you we would rather not have you book a trans man to host this event, push back. The reason being behind push back and make that pushback public. And the reason I say this is for the same reason that I said that I was going to name names at the beginning of this video. And it's because when you push back without naming the names, people get to act crazy and absolve themselves because they were never named. But when you name a name, a person then has to figure out how they're going to justify their behavior, or they have to correct their behavior. And 9 times out of 10, when you are dealing with a lot of these organizations and these corporate sponsors, they're going to change their behavior before they ever try to explain their behavior, because they want whatever the people want. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these people only hear and only speak and only think in bottom line subject matter. And so once you hit them where their pockets hurt and you let them know that the audience is in full agreement and in full stance with you, a lot of them get their mind right and they change their behavior because they have no choice. If the audience that y'all are paying to bring into this event isn't going to come because y'all are telling them that these people that they are telling you that they want to see are not welcome, then guess what? The event goes nowhere and all of their investment also tanks with that event. So if you speak up and you speak out, you get a lot more done. But the problem is a lot of you promoters, a lot of you organizations are so afraid to lose that corporate sponsor for the next year that you pull out of everything and say fuck the community, and then wonder why the community says fuck you for the rest of the 364 days of the year that, you know, isn't that particular event. And we've got to be more mindful about the way that our decisions and the decisions that we make around community affect community in the long run. And essentially, I believe that that's why so much animosity and all of those things exist. And it's just because we are not being real or being honest with ourselves about the way that sometimes our corporate donors and our corporate sponsors' opinions matter more than the opinions of the people in community who we claim that we're serving with some of these Pride events, you know? So just gotta be more careful. Just gotta be more intentional. Just gotta be more thoughtful. And if you can't be those things, then don't have events. And I say that with so much love. If you can't be thoughtful, if you can't be careful, if you can't consider, you know, who you're inviting, if you can't pay your host, if you don't have your budget ready, if you are still finding the funding to pay people, don't reach out to people. Like, and I say that with love and I say that with respect. If you are still in the phase of your planning where you are still looking for budget to pay people, then you should not have nobody reaching out to nobody until you get a budget. And when you get that budget, I need you to be able to tell people what you have in budget and let those people decide if they can do that. Because a lot of y'all are asking for people's rates, hoping that they're going to give you $2 as the response. And that's typically not going to be the case. Inflation is going up, which means so are people's rates to match that inflation. And if you don't believe that somebody's rate is going to change when gas is $6 in certain places in the world, you've got to be fucking kidding yourself. So again, I think a big testament of what I think some of you all need to do is to really reevaluate the way that y'all go about setting up Pride before Pride even starts. Who are your people? How are you reaching out to them? Because nobody should be getting an email in June for June. I'm trying this new blue pencil. I don't think I'm going to like it, y'all. My Urban Decay never lets me down. And I don't know if I like this one already because it looks a little bit too dark. It's not giving the blue that I like for it to give. Yeah, like I'm gonna keep it because it was a cheaper alternative. I was just looking to see if there was somebody who finally could get me close to Urban Decay without having to pay $20 for a pencil. And unfortunately, y'all, I do not think that this is gonna be it. It don't even glide the same way. Like it's so dark. Like no. Like in person, I guess it's cute, but like it's so dark. Like it does not pop on camera. Ugh. Urban Decay girl, you win again because I am really trying to find a way to get like my signature blue or my signature aquamarine without paying $24 for these pencils. And it's just like the good Lord don't want me to be great because look at this. Wait, look at how much pigment there is in that. Look at that. And I'm not even really trying. And voila, like that is color payoff. I don't know what the other pencil was doing. That's color payoff. I love this. That's what I get for trying to try something new. I just knew that pencil wasn't going to let me down. I just knew I was going to be able to stop spending $20 on pencils for the rest of my life. And of course, that's just not the case, my love. That's just not the case, bitch. Urban Decay said that you thought. There's a reason that we cost $24, sis. You thought, you know? And Urban Decay, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. There's a reason why you cost $24. But back to what I was saying. As it pertains to Pride, I want everybody to enjoy Pride, but I also want people to do Pride responsibly and respectfully. I think that if you're going to be out here booking people, you got to know who you're booking, why you're booking them, and you need to have your budget assessed. I think that if you're going to be your intentions clear to have a good time with other community members who are also probably having a bad time when we're not together. And then I think last and not least, we have to be very mindful about the ways in which we are, seeking to be in community together. Because while I do understand there is a need for integration intercommunally, I don't know if we're ready to have a real conversation about the ways in which Pride still holds racist segregational, moments as it pertains to things like DC Capital Pride versus DC Black Pride. Those are organizations that might work with each other because they're in the same city, but those are not organizations that I believe get the same funding, and I wonder why. Because when you have an organization such as DC Black Pride that has been pulling out major bomb events the way that it has and still not receiving the amount of publicity and or the amount of funding that Capital Pride gets, I can only beg to believe that it has something to do with race. I can only beg to believe that it has something to do with the audience of people that one of those pride serves versus the audience of people that the other pride serves. And until we can have a big conversation about that, I'll wait. I'm just kidding. But it was just too easy for me to not lean into it. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we should be talking about during Pride, but I think that those are some of my biggest thought points and takeaways is that we should really be out here making sure that we're celebrating one another, that we're treating each other equitably as it pertains to paying the people and inviting the people out. And if you can't do those things, that you are mindful of the types of people that you want to invite out so that you are not insulting to people's worth or people's character. And, if people if you are a person who is being booked and people don't have your fee, don't lower your price. Either don't do it or do it for free. That's just what it is. Somebody said you need to try Wet and Wild liner, boo. When I tell you that $2 liner comes through, I got it from Target years ago. You know what? Wet and Wild was definitely a brand. Like Wet and Wild was a brand. You know what I'm saying? Like Wet and Wild has been a brand. It's been sitting for years and now I use it all the time since the blue liner trend made a comeback. Let me tell you something. I have been using blue liner even without the comeback. I am one of those girls that this has been my signature for forever. So you ain't finna get me to believe or make me believe that it's just coming back because I was one of them ones that never let it go. Do you hear me? I never let the blue train go. But you are absolutely right about the Wet and Wilds because I remember back in the day before all of us started using, these brands, Wet and Wild held us all down. You know what I'm saying? Wet and Wild was the one that kept the girls going through the high schools and things. Okay, so you might be right. I might need to go back to Wet and Wild and see what that blue liner is hitting for over there because, baby, this one from Sephora brand, yeah, she let me down. And it's not even because she's not blue. Like she blue, but she not the blue I was looking for. Like based off of what was on the packaging. Like I don't even know why I stuck her. Oh, okay. I don't even know why I stuck her and she got going that fast. Like based on this packaging, I would assume that this blue is gonna be way more blue than the color payoff was giving. And it just wasn't. And so yeah, no. But it's funny that you mentioned the Wet and Wild because I definitely remember that Wet and Wild electric blue, and it was definitely the bop before I got some money. So maybe we need to go back to that because I am a little sick of spending $24 on these Urban Decay pencils because I go through them like water. I wear my blue liner almost every day. Almost every time I wear makeup, I have on a blue liner. And so y'all can imagine that I run through these blue liners like it's nobody's business. And yeah, I'm a little tired of it. I feel like if I had to like run down a tally of my blue liner budget, it's probably somewhere around like maybe $500-$600 a year. And that's just on my liner. And that's because the liner is $24 with tax is probably like 25, 26, depending on where I'm at. If I go through 2 of those liners every 2 months, like I think I probably spent about $600 just on that eyeliner a year. And it's crazy because as I'm breaking this down for y'all, I'm kind of gagging because I knew that, but I didn't realize that. Like, I didn't know that. So, like, I'm just kind of gagging that, like, I really do be spending like $500-600 on liner every year, like annually. And that's crazy to me. So, if I can get this Wet n Wild to do a thing for $2, I'm gonna go and buy like 10 of them for the year and just be done with it and spend way less than $500 or $600 a year. Um, and I'm saying $500 or $600, y'all, just because I'm being like I'm exaggerating the point. I know that it's not $500 or $600, right? But like it's a lot for liner. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a lot for liner. It's probably more like maybe $300 a year, but still $300 on liner is crazy. What are y'all thinking of the look so far? Is she giving? Is she eating? Is she coming through? I wish I could see what Instagram was doing or if Instagram was even happening because baby girl, I definitely set it up and I put everything in, but then my like the screen that had my Instagram on it that I usually look at it from, it just kind of like did a thing. And so I don't even know if I'm live on Instagram right now. But in the event that I am, what's up, y'all? What's goody? How are y'all doing? um, and I'm so sorry I'm not responding to your comments today, but it's because I can't see them. That's really what it is. Because I can't see them. I'm not being a shady bitch. I just cannot see your things, darling. I cannot wait for the weekend. Typically I'm not really even like I can't wait for the weekend type of girl unless there's something like really happening. And I am going to the beach this weekend. Finally, I've been wanting to go to the beach really bad. And so I am finally going to be heading to the beach and I'm so excited about it. And so yeah. I am gonna have so much fun at the beach. I really want to do some pink blush because this blush trend is giving. It's giving looking very airbrush, which I love. Yes, I love a good like airbrush makeup moment. I love the fact that my ooh, okay. Ooh, okay, that little okay. This little Nas orgasm X, yeah. She brought that, she took that up an extra little notch. Just a skosh, like not too much. Like she came through and said, "Hey girl, what's up? Let me tap this real quick." Yeah, I like her. Yeah, that Nas orgasm X kind of did her thing. She worked her way up and through there, girl. Yeah. Yeah. But a lot of that too, y'all, is about the skincare that you do before, which is why, as much as I hate getting on here and not already having my skincare on for y'all, because I know I be looking dry and crusty because I come right out of the shower, I brush my teeth, and then I sit down here to just film these get ready with me's with y'all. And so I know I be looking crusty. But I just be wanting to show y'all that it's very like there is something different about doing a skincare routine and then putting your makeup on because the makeup lives on your face so much better when there's product that it's soaking in and it's just collecting all the juices and berries and all of those things. Like I just feel like the makeup lays so much better. And a lot of you all want me to get into like my full tutorial bag, which I don't know. Maybe if y'all ask hard enough, I might give y'all a tutorial or two now that I feel like I'm actually in a setup that I would want to record a tutorial in. Because that's a large part of the reason why y'all wasn't getting tutorials back in the day. And it's just because I didn't feel like I was in a good space to do tutorials. Like when you have to compete against Jackie Aina and Makeup by Mario and Painted by Spencer, and they all have this high quality like setup when they're doing their tutorials, you can't be out here doing your tutorials on an iPhone 1, right? And I felt like for a while that's what my stuff was giving, was iPhone 1 vibes. Today I'm going to be doing another red lip because I've been kind of living for the red lips. So the red lip that I had been wearing for the last 2 days is by MAC, right? And so this one is called something spicy, I believe. Nice Spice. That's funny. So this one is called Nice Spice, but this one that I'm going to be wearing today is a little bit more similar to um, Ruby Woo, but this is by NARS. Ruby Woo, if you've ever worn it, it's just a little bit too dry. Like it's the perfect red for a black girl, especially with a good liner on it. But y'all, it's so dry throughout the day that I'm just like, I'm looking for a good dupe that is not as dry, right? And so this one is called Mogador by NARS. So I'm gonna line my lips with chestnut first. Wow. So I am lining my lips with the chestnut first, and then I'm going to put, I haven't even, I have not even opened this. And this has been on my makeup counter thing for like, I want to say probably like a year. Because I didn't buy this. Somebody bought this for me because I was like, oh my God, you should get that. Oh, bitch. Okay. Okay. All right now. Oh, that's cute. Okay. Hold on. Hold on now, Holiday. Hold on. Hold on, Holiday. And it's creamy. Y'all. Y'all. Because I love like a cute little. Mm, y'all. Y'all. Hold on. Y'all. Y'all. Oh, girl. Yeah. I don't know. I can't say that it's gonna replace my Ruby Woo, but I can say, yeah, she cute. She's cute. She red, but she ain't too red. The chestnut liner works really well with it. And it's not too orangey the way that this one is. But I like that. This one to me gives me black girl pink lip. Whereas this one gives me Ruby Woo without the hassle. Okay. Yeah, I like her. I've been liking the red tones and all of that stuff lately. Like she's cute and she's a little deeper. I think that that's the thing that like I think I am sitting with is that she's a little deeper once she's on the lip, right? But I don't know. I don't know if I mind that. I do think I'm gonna go back to NARS from this line and see if I can find one that's slightly lighter than this because I love this and it's so sultry and it's the perfect red for me, no tea, no shade. But I do every now and then like to have a red that's a little bit more like candy apple red without the candy apple because I don't like glossy red. Like I don't know, like they're just not for me. They're just not for me. Um, rooted in curls said beautiful. You might need to hit the town for a little bit with this. All right, for a little 1-2 this evening. First of all, okay, am I the only one that says 1-2? Like, do y'all be saying 1-2 because of me, or do y'all be saying 1-2 because somebody else in your life be saying 1-2? Because I feel like I am like a connoisseur of being like just a little 1-2. Like, do y'all be saying that because of me? Like, for my OG hopefuls, like for the hopefuls that follow me, like if you are hopeful, like do you be saying 1-2 because Hope be saying just a little 1-2, or like is that like a thing that people be saying? Because I really be feeling like I'm the only one that says that. Like I don't hear people be saying like a little 1-2. Like I don't know. I just feel like that's a me thing, and so I be happy when I be thinking that my people and my like my hopefuls be like, picking up little things, I don't know. That would just make me really happy if that's where y'all was picking it up from. So yeah, but cute. Very cute. I am like loving it. I'm always astonished by how well you do your own makeup. It really is a talent. The thing about it is that I wanted to be a makeup artist. I didn't want to do advocacy or activism or any of this stuff full time. I had my dream job, I had my little dream job. I was already working at Mac. I was a store manager, like I was gonna make my way up the chain and do my ones and twos, baby girl. Like I was gonna do my things. And then activism just kind of kept calling me and kept pulling me back and kept, like tugging at my heartstrings. But girl, my first love was dance, then theater, and then makeup. Right. I was one of those people, and I still am one of those people that is just like, I'm sure that they're like, people have an idea of what it is that I love or what I like or what I want to do. And I'm sure that most times you'd be wrong. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna go out this evening though. I really be saying it, friend. Listening to you might add to my subconscious leaning towards the usage though. No lie. No, okay, no, it's okay. Like I feel like when it come down to like saying a little one too, I really thought that I was like an innovator. Like, oh, but I do a little one too. But I just wanted to see, because sometimes you think that like it's a you thing, but really it's like other people in the world do this as well. And so sometimes I'm just like a little curious, like, am I creating a thing? Like, is this a whole thing, or is this like a thing that other people be saying and I just don't know that other people be saying it? Um, so yeah, I am loving my makeup today. I am loving my makeup today. No flitter, no flitter. Um, Absolutely loving my makeup today. Because yesterday, I don't know if some of y'all were here, but yesterday I was not really feeling it. It wasn't my jam per se yesterday. But today, she is cute. No. It wasn't yesterday, because yesterday my makeup was cute and it was very minimal. Like yesterday, if y'all go back to that video that I made yesterday, I did that face in like 10 minutes because I didn't really do a face. I put on a little bit of concealer. I did a little bit of under eye. I put on some blush, bitch. Put on some mascara and that lip, and I was done. So like, I was also thinking about the fact that like, hey, like I might need to do that little routine a little bit more often, because my skin was glowy and beautiful in the best way. And it took me all of 10, 15 minutes to do that. And that was the look that I did yesterday. But again, it usually would only take me like 45 minutes, maybe 30 minutes to do my full face. But because I'm on here talking to y'all and like doing all of the extra things, it takes a little bit longer. But anyway, as y'all already know, get ready with me are just for me to get ready. I sometimes bring a topic. I sometimes let y'all choose the topic, and we do it until we're done. And now we are done. So I just want to say thank you so much to the amazing people over on the Instagrams and the YouTube, if Instagram even got the video, because I don't know if they got it. But we'll see after this is over. I'll go and check and see if it's where it's supposed to be. And thank you so much to the folks on TikTok who said nothing the entire live, which is very interesting. Like TikTok people usually got so much to say, and like y'all have said nothing the entire time that I've been on live, which is so interesting. But with that said, I love y'all so much, and I'll see y'all later. Bye, everybody. Bam, bam, bam.